Hey, Gen Xers. Do you ever have the feeling that the world has just gone off the rails and all you really want to do is crank up some Nirvana, pop in a VHS tape of your favorite movie, and escape back to the 90s? Well, there's some people out there who are saying that all of that nostalgia is a mental disorder. They're calling it Peter Pan syndrome and saying that Gen X just can't seem to get a grasp on reality and that we're not growing up. But here's my take on it. We're not the ones with the problem. The world is the one with the problem. So let's talk about it. Welcome back to Gen X POV, and if you like videos like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, okay? Now that we've got the business out of the way, let's talk about this whole Peter Pan syndrome and our inability to grow up, as they say. Recently, in a conversation with Rad Graham after our Mall Nostalgia tour, we were talking about how his feed on YouTube has just been flooded with all these videos about how Gen X just can't seem to get a grasp on reality and how our love of nostalgia is really us just living in the past and that it's some sort of mental disorder. Now, I haven't seen those videos pop up in my feed yet, but I did do a little digging and come to find out it's a legit trend. Evidently, people are talking about how Gen X is clinging to their mixtapes and Tamagotchis while watching the world burn and not doing a damn thing about it. So we're going to unpack that theory in this video today. Does Gen X have a mental disorder, or are we just the only last sane ones standing? First off, let's get one thing straight. Gen X loves nostalgia. It's true. I'm guilty as charged. We had the best of the best. We had MTV back when it actually played music. We had the best Saturday morning cartoons ever. And we could leave the house without a cell phone in our pocket and explore the world without somebody tracking our every single move. Life was just simpler back then. And yeah, we miss it. But here's the thing. Calling it Peter Pan syndrome is just utter nonsense. You see, Peter Pan syndrome is supposed to be about not growing up, which isn't what we did at all. We grew up. We were latchkey kids who grew up, so we were very independent and self-sufficient. We got jobs, we had families, we bought houses, and we took care of things just like we're supposed to. It's not that we refused to grow up. Most of us think we probably grew up too quickly. I mean, think about all the things that Gen X had to deal with and overcome as young adults. We had to deal with the bane that was dial-up internet for the longest time. Then once we got that under control, all of a sudden we had the Y2K scare. Not to mention the fact that we entered the job market just as it started to tank. We have responsibilities, mortgages, kids, jobs. And it's not that nostalgia is us going insane and having a mental disorder. It's, quite frankly, us coping with the world that's gone insane. Think about it. Back then, you could disagree with somebody and not worry about getting canceled. The world just made sense. And now it feels like we're living in some dystopian rerun of the Twilight Zone. All Gen X is trying to do is hang on to something real. So no, Gen X is not stuck in Never Never Land. We're just yearning for a time when the world wasn't a complete dumpster fire. But here's the interesting part. Even the kids today get it. Recently, I've seen a few Gen Zers out there who are actually nostalgic for things they never had. You would think they would be all about TikTok and AI, but that's not the case. Check out this video, for example. This guy's video I stumbled across, it's gone viral with over 400,000 views. He's a Gen Zer waxing poetic about how he wishes he grew up in the 90s with no social media, just riding bikes and playing outside. Sound familiar? And he's not alone. If you take a few minutes and scroll through X or Facebook or YouTube, you'll see there's a lot of Gen Zers out there who are nostalgic for the same thing. They're watching Stranger Things with the retro vibe. They're buying retro arcade systems like our Nintendos that we used to have. Even content creators here on YouTube are ditching the fancy filters in Adobe Premiere Pro for 90s camcorders. Proof positive that there's just some things that the 90s did better and you just can't fake it. I think that the younger generation is nostalgic for our time growing up because they're sick and tired of a world that's got politicized and digitized to death. They're seeking out those real connections and real experiences that we all had and quite frankly took for granted. And the thing is, they're not calling it Peter Pan syndrome. They're calling it a golden age. And they're right. And to their credit, they're smart enough to realize it. We didn't when we were going through it. And I think that's a regret a lot of us Gen Xers have. If you have that same regret as I do, let me know in the comments section. Also, if you've been enjoying this video so far, give me a thumbs up. Helps the channel grow and it lets YouTube know that, hey, this is something that the world needs to see. Because here's where it starts to get deep. Doesn't Gen Z's longing for our past speak more about the present than it does about us? Maybe we're not the ones refusing to grow up. Maybe the world's refusing to grow into something worth living in. All right, so let's get into the real meat of this. People want to blame Gen X for being stuck. But let's flip the script on this. We didn't make this mess. The world's gone off the deep end, and it's not because we're here blasting Smells Like Teen Spirit on repeat. It's because of what happened since. See, we didn't create this woke ideology that has everybody walking on eggshells today, terrified to say what's what. That is not our legacy. We grew up on free speech and punk rock rebellion. We didn't tank the economy or jack up the housing prices to where most of us can't even afford houses anymore. And we sure as hell didn't raise a generation that can't tell what's what without a poll on X. Sadly, that's on the boomers and on the millennials and Gen Zers who have been running with bad ideas ever since. We're just standing here watching it all implode going, what the hell happened? Like, seriously, in our day, you could call a spade a spade. You could call a woman without being lectured about it. To put it simply, the world has gotten twisted so fast that our nostalgia isn't living in the past. It's a lifeline. So it's not that we're refusing to live in the present and wanting to live in the past. It's just that we're refusing to participate in this clown show. So, at the end of the day, does Gen X have a problem with nostalgia? Nah. We're not the ones who are refusing to grow up. The world's just lost its grip. In truth, our nostalgia isn't a mental disorder. It's a badge of honor. We lived through some really good times, and there's nothing wrong with wanting it back. And Gen Z gets it too. They are begging for a taste of what we had. So maybe instead of pointing the finger at us, you should spend some time thinking about why it is the present is so unbearable that we spend so much time thinking about the past. So what do you think? Are we stuck, or is the world just broken beyond repair? And I'm not just talking to all my Gen Xers out there. I want to know from everybody, from Boomer to Gen Z, what you think about this nostalgia trend and Peter Pan syndrome, and if I'm hitting the mark at all. Let me know in the comments section. And until then, keep the faith and maybe dust off that Walkman you've got in the closet. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with all of your other friends who may be interested in this. And I'll see you in the comments section.